Hey, this is such a good time of year for players and coaches and fans and all that. It's really exciting to be involved in the playoffs, and you can feel it already. You see it in the room. It's just a great time of year, so we're pumped up about it. Really fortunate that we get to open up the playoffs at home and playing for the 12s, and here at C-Link, it's a big deal. And we want to make sure that we put together a tremendous week of preparation, and everybody's on point so we can play like we're capable and have our best chance to get started well this first round. So it's a really exciting time, and it's really fun to see the guys that have been playing in the league that haven't had a chance to be in the playoffs, and this is their first opportunity, as well as the young guys. The young guys probably don't appreciate it as much as the guys that have missed out on their first years, and so it's fun to bring them to it, and we're looking forward to it.
You have a lot of guys now who've played 5-6 years in the postseason. Just how valuable is that when they've been through it?
I think it is real valuable, in really in the area of helping the other guys who haven't been through, make sure that they understand how we do it and how we approach this thing, so that we can all be on the same page. It's the message is strong in the locker room.
What do you like most about this group, where they are right now going into the postseason?
Mainly that we're comfortable with this opportunity, and the voices that really are strongest in the locker room are sending the message and helping guys understand how we're going to get through it and how we approach it, and like I said, and so I think that's just the leadership that comes from within that really helps us the most.
Where does that show up maybe in a game, that experience?
Hopefully it shows up in making decisions, along the way, which has to do with this week, during the week, and how we handle it and take care of our business and all, and then in game time too. We'll hopefully we'll keep our wits about us and play really sharp and poised and take full advantage of our opportunities.
What do you make over the last few years of the trend of Super Bowl teams actually kind of struggling entering the playoffs?
I think it's obvious why. I think it's obvious just getting back and getting in contention. I don't know if you mean that or just when they get to the playoffs, but there's so much that goes on, win or lose, through that process of the Super Bowl year, that factors in. It just factors in. It's unique. It's rare that guys get to have to deal with that stuff, and it's first time for a lot of players and coaches sometimes, and it just has an effect that it's obvious. I mean, it's statistically it's there. The history's there for you, and so I think that's what that's all about. How to deal with it and how to make sure that you don't let it get in the way and the things that are important and necessary and all that to get back.
I'm sorry, I should have clarified. Teams entering the playoffs, and
that was a really good answer, though. Let's go. Next question. No, go ahead.
Teams entering the playoffs have tended to struggle. You guys were 2-2, I think, in December in 2013.
Oh, I got you. So you're saying teams at the end of the season entering in?
Yeah, and then entering in the Super Bowl despite not finishing the regular season all that well.
I got you. Yeah. Well, there's factors that are come to the front. Like this year was a situation that we haven't had, where we knew we were in the playoffs a few weeks ago. And it's a different issue to deal with, and you either deal with it well or you don't, and it may factor in, it may not. I don't know that it's so subjective. I don't know that it does, but there are things that go on. As you're finishing the year, you can see it's all out there for you, and sometimes you can get distracted and not perform like you're capable, and all of a sudden you drop a game here and you drop a game there. Like everything that's already happened doesn't matter at all. It doesn't matter at all. And everybody wants to kind of project how it's going to go based on the finish. You're alluding to really you can't tell. So it's how you deal with it now, how you go about your business, and then when it comes to game time, how you execute, and then how you handle the wins when you get a win in the playoffs and all of that. So there's a lot going on right now. It's not all really clear, what the factors are.
Thomas Rawls had a limited number of carries against the 49ers. Was that a health-related thing, or was that a performance-related?
Really, which just went the way the game went. I had intended for him to get the ball quite a bit, feeling that we would be contending all the way through the game and all of that. And then as the game changed a little bit and the other game changed a little bit, we just started to make some decisions to just try and see if other guys could take the play time away from guys. And that was what that was all about. Really wanted him to get the ball 20 times, what I was looking for, and it didn't happen.
Your starter this week?
Yes.
The offensive line has obviously been a big story since the offseason and the progression there. Where do you think they are right now?
Well, I think that we've shown a lot of good stuff over the last 7 or 8 weeks, and that we can go with. And there's been a couple halves in there. There's been a quarter and a half in there in some games that haven't been as sharp. So it shows that we're still young, and that the consistency to be nailed is still out there for us. And that's our challenge: is to believe that we're capable of playing like we've played when we're at our best, and continue to find that and bring that to the front. So. Everything is directed at that for all of our players, but it's shown up as something that's a growth opportunity for us, and I'm hoping we can pull that off.
When you say still young with the offensive line, it's obviously, there's not a lot of cap space put in it. Are you looking at this line and saying, okay, this approach is transferable, and next year we can see an improvement, this is a long-term thing for us?
The cap reference doesn't make any sense to me, but this is a young bunch of guys that we've got 2 first-time starters ever, and another guy that started 1 game in his life before. So that's about as young as you can get. So all of the growth is going to be huge between year 1 and year 2. I can't even imagine how much George Fant is going to see differently when he looks at his second season when he comes back around. So I feel, and our coaches feel, like we have a really good group for the future. We're young, they're hungry, they're bright, they're working at it, they're going through tremendous experiences, and they're going to be measurably better as we come back around. So if that hits your question, I think this is a line for the future, yeah. And we'll continue to make it as competitive as we can as we go forward, but this is a good place to start for us, and now that the season is over, okay, we made it through. Here we go. Let's see how we handle the playoffs, and then we'll just keep growing.
Pete, how has the number of different running backs you've used and players getting carries affected that young O-line?
That is a big list. I noticed that list in the stats. That's a lot of guys that carry the football for us. It shows you that we haven't been settled at the spot. That's really what it shows, and we haven't been able to. We were really excited about Thomas, and then he broke his leg in the second game. And so he just didn't get a chance to get really right until really this late in the season. So. CJ's, absence has been obvious. We were thrilled about that kid, and we're going to really look forward to the future with him. And so what's happened is there's just been opportunities for a lot of guys to keep rolling through here to try to keep the position alive and keep pushing. So that's just the way it's been this year.
Thomas has only averaged, I think, 1.5 yards a carry over the last 3 games. What have you seen from him over that stretch? Has he had much room to go, or how would you kind of see how he fits in?
I don't think it's going to be like that going forward. I think there were some numbers in there. He didn't carry the ball very much. Every running back needs to get out there and stay on the field and keep playing. He hasn't had a lot of carries because he got nicked here or what happened last week. So I don't think that's really a factor to be concerned about on our end of it. We're going to just keep feeding it to him.
You mentioned Alex Collins has lost about 10 pounds or whatever since the start of the season. When did you sort of notice that? Was that something that he
we talked about it whenever. I can't remember how far back it was, but when we started talking about it and just dug into it, we went back and looked at his Arkansas film, and we thought that there was more there, and so we just addressed it, and he did a fantastic job of being open to the thought, and he worked harder in his conditioning. He stayed later. He did all kinds of stuff, and just kind of reshaped his body over the course of a couple months. Really, it takes that long to do it right, and now we're seeing the benefits of that, and I think he looks really good. He looks very explosive again, very confident. His confidence is up considerably, and we will not hesitate to put him in the game.
Do you have an update on how Nolan Freese is doing?
Yeah, he's got a sprained ankle that's not going to allow him to get back. So we'll make a move today. We have a guy named Tyler Ott that's coming back and to us as a snapper, and he's going to jump in. He's already on the practice field today.
What about C.J. Process? Any update with him?
A very encouraging report today. He had a CT scan that was really positive, and he's working hard and running hard. We're going to see what happens, and if we have the good fortune of winning this week, then we'll take a look at next week. He's going to run really hard this week with the thought that he's going to practice next week. That's what we're going to see, and we'll see if we can give him that opportunity. That'd be great.
Aside from the home field, how different is your team preparing for this week in the playoffs from a year ago?
There isn't a difference. I don't see it any different at all. We're fortunate to be playing at home. It's great to have the division behind us and all that. We've known that for a while, so we have a good sense of it. There's the anticipation that we're playing here has been really obvious to our guys, and so they're really excited about that. I think just the natural feel that you get an opportunity to play in the playoffs at home it's just such a positive that we're just in the middle of all that and going to try to max that out.
How much concern is there with a new long snapper here as you head into the playoffs?
Like on a 1 to 10 or in a percentage? Or what do you... No, Tyler's he's played in games this year and he's done well. His numbers are right as far as his tempo getting the ball back. He's a good-sized kid. He looks good. We're going for it like we're not even going to think twice about it.
What do you remember of Golden Tate? You're going to face him again for the second time on Sunday. What do you remember the negotiations with him and how he kind of left you ultimately?
Well, you know, when that happened, I was just disappointed. I don't know how it came across today when I answered a question on the radio or on the interview. But I was disappointed that we didn't communicate with Golden really clearly, our end of it, you know. And then so now it becomes a negotiation that I didn't feel like he had all the information he needed, and we needed to do a better job of that. And I felt like when I realized what had happened, that we were too late, to really make a shot at it. The thing happened the first week of free agency. It's crazy that time of year. Stuff was flying and all that, so we lost him. But that doesn't mean that we wouldn't have lost him no matter what, because he got paid really well. He got a great contract and all that. The rest of it I don't care about. I just wish we would have communicated better so everybody would have had the information, and that was really on us to do that. So I love that guy. I mean, I had a blast coaching him. He's a terrific football player, and I always liked his attitude. He was a screwball, and had fun. Always loved playing the game, and he was as much fun as anybody we've had to coach. So it's been fun to watch him, and he's played really well, and they've utilized him great. And so he'll be charged up. Our guys will be charged up. It's always fun to play against guys,
Marvin Jones, obviously Stafford. What are your initial impressions of their passing game right now?
Stafford makes this really difficult. He's so equipped at everything. He can do it all. He's going to read your coverage. He's going to read your pressures. He's going to change it and affect their protections properly and make it as hard on you as possible. He's tough. He's competitive. He's resourceful. He runs. He's got a rushing average. He's averaging over 5 yards a carry. You would think of him as a pocket guy, but he's more than that. But even take all that and put that aside, look what he's done in the end of the games. He's been phenomenal finishing games, and there's nothing that I respect more than a guy that can finish like that. He's had eight game-winning, fourth quarters, and so nobody's ever even done that before. I heard. I don't know who keeps that stat, but that's remarkable. And so we will treat him with the utmost respect. He's got terrific players. They all have their own style. They're unique players in their own right. Their running back is. Their tight end is. Eric Hebron is a really cool tight end that can do all kinds of stuff, and they've got all of that worked out. They know exactly what they have, and so. It's 60 minutes now. You can't give these guys an inch. Look what they did last week. They throw a Hail Mary, and they're going onside again. They're doing it all over. They're going to do it again, just like they've done it all year long, and I know they think that way. So they have a great mindset, and so we're going to have to really be on it to do well. So we're ready for these guys, but they're really good.
What do you remember most from your meeting against them last year?
Just winning it, I think. We won pretty dramatically with a big play by Cam knocking the ball out. That was a cool play.
Where do things stand at kickoff return and punt return?
So far, pretty much like last week. Yeah, stands the same until something changes.
What did you see from J.D. McKissick?
He did a good job. He played a good football game for us. That's the first time he's played in a regular season NFL game. He was very comfortable, competed really well, good decision-making, handled the ball well. He did fine. We like that guy. And Richard did a really good job, back there taking care of the football. It was a good job by him.
Now that
He has an average, too. He has an average as a punt returner.
Now that you've had the chance to see what the defense is like without Earl Thomas, what are you missing on the field during games? What's changed defensively?
Earl's a unique player. He's an extraordinary player. He's proven that. And no matter what position the guy plays, you miss that unique quality. And we always are talking about uniqueness, and Earl is a fantastic football player. And so, you're just going to miss him. He's got leadership in him. He's got playmaking in him. And he's got great experience. And so, that's Earl. Now, we're playing with Steven Terrell, and he's going to do a good job for us. He's been a solid player for us. He's played a lot. Now, he's won 6 or 7 games, it seems like. I don't know how many it is, but he's been out there a lot for us.
Did you have to have a chat with Jaron Reed, and how has he responded since the end of that game?
Yeah, he's disappointed that he screwed it up. Yeah, he just made a mistake. And a number of us had a discussion with him.
Who stands out on Detroit's front seven as far as their defense?
Well, their two ends are terrific. Nassau's really good. and whenever Haloti Ngata's out there, you know he's out there. He's a monster of a player. Their attack, they're unique players that have a lot. Their whole team plays really hard, and it shows up on their defense. And of course, in special teams, they're really good in both areas, just showing effort and running and hitting. This defense, and it starts up front, and those guys kind of lead the charge.
Does Tahir Whitehead stand out to you on tape?
Yeah, he's physical. He attacks. He's got a real hardball nature about him. He's a really good hitter. You can see it stands out. He's kind of when I'm talking about their style, I'm thinking about Whitehead. He is one of those guys.
Going back to Stafford, it seems like he's maybe taken a bit of a leap this year. Does he look like the same guy that you saw last year when they came here?
Yeah, he's been great for a long time. I mean, he's had great numbers and great production and all. I think that what jumps out is the finishes, the dramatic finishes and the great play that they've done at the end of the game. They're a very connected offense, and they really function really well. And obviously, no matter how difficult it gets, they still can function. So we know we have our hands full.
Your defense led the NFL in yards per carries a lot. What goes into playing good run defense, especially this year? Teams have run. There's been a lot of attempts. What goes into just kind of down?
It's really, I know that you would think it's a lot of stuff, but it's really discipline. It's the discipline to continue to play the scheme properly and not waver, and we've been pretty good for years, up front and with the running game, and it's a commitment to the discipline of it and buying in and doing your job, and just doing what you're supposed to do, play after play after play, and waiting it out. And when you have really good players right behind that second level, our guys are really productive. The guys up front have to be in the right spot so those guys can fit it up, and you can see the benefits. You can see how well that Bobby's played this year and how well KJ has played this year. Cam's always a big factor in all of that. Those guys up front really make that happen by the way they play. So it's really the discipline of it.
You mentioned at the beginning that you can feel the difference when you're in the meetings, that it's playoff time. What is that difference? What do you think?
We're excited about it, and fewer teams are playing. And as you go along each week, fewer teams are playing, and you just there's more there to have fun with. And it's really what it is fun. And if you're not enjoying this, you're missing it. This is great stuff, and every part of it, every phase of it, the media part of it, all of it. It's all fun, and it's really what we work for.
What's been the biggest difference in Frank Clark from this year to last year?
One is play time. Remember I told you at the beginning of the year we didn't play him enough. Yeah, we should have played him more last year. He was very productive, and he's more disciplined now. He's playing the scheme better, and he's just playing more. And he's a fantastic player. He's just he's so explosive, and his effort is so uniquely just consistent. He really gives it up every play, and so he makes things happen. You can see on the return the other day, he looked pretty good with the ball in his hands. We might put him a tailback. We could get another guy to carry the ball. That would work. But he's just a terrific athlete, but better than all of that, it's how hard he plays. And that's what really makes him special.
You have a few coaches on staff who could get calls about some of these head coaching opportunities. What's your advice to them on how to approach those? And
coach really well again this week. Take care of this week first. But honestly, to me, it's a very positive thing. And when guys come to this program, when we first talk about coming in here, I tell them that I'll do everything I can to help them get wherever they want to go and to do whatever they want to do with their careers. And I mean that. And so when the opportunity comes up and our guys are getting some looks and stuff, I'm the first one cheerleading for them and working with them in every way that I can, whether it's getting ready for interviews, getting ready for whatever it is, staff stuff, or whatever they want. I'm not trying to tell them what to do. I'm just there available to help them because I want them to do well. And part of that is the messaging for the next guys that come in. The next guy, I want the next guys that come in to know that you come here, you're going to get supported, and you're going to have a chance to do whatever you dream to do in your career. And I'm going to bust my tail to help them do that.
You've already had 2 defensive coordinators leave for head coaching jobs. If a team comes after Chris, what qualifications, what attributes does he have that would make him a good head coach?
I'm glad you asked that. I think Chris is a remarkable coach. I think he's, I've been with him since he was a player, so I've watched him grow up, really truly grow up in coaching. He was a GA for us at SC, and then was hired on and here. He's an extraordinary coach because he relates so well. He's so smart. He's a brilliant guy. He handles scheme and adjustments and situations and players and things in extraordinary fashion. He has a very strong philosophy, very clear about what he wants to do and how he wants it to go, and he's tough. He's got a real toughness about him that I think makes him unique. He's not just going to just tap guys on the back and hope that they do well. He's going to direct them. He's going to motivate them. He's going to relate to them, and so I think he's an amazing candidate for guys when the time comes, and I don't think it's too far off.
He took over a defense, obviously, that already had a pretty good pedigree by the time. But with that, he took over a lot of guys that had been really successful and who had kind of, I guess, elevated already to a level. Did that present any challenges for him?
Yeah. I mean, you might think that's easier to take over that, a group that's done well, but both when Gus got it started and then Danny took it over, they were faced with challenges with that, And then when Dan left and we've been Super Bowl and all that kind of stuff, and the guys all of our guys, our leader guys on defense, have all gone through their contract issues, and they're at the top of their game, and those guys are going through a lot, and there's a lot of growth and a lot of issue to help them through and to guide them through. And Chris has done a remarkable job. That's why I'm so fired up about the job he's done, because it ain't easy. Our guys are hard to coach sometimes, and we build a formula that allows these guys to be involved and to be speak and contribute, and so there's a lot to manage there. Well, that's what it's like to be a head coach. You got a lot of issues. You got a lot of stuff you got to deal with, and so I think Chris has been extraordinary. When teams talk to him, they're going to understand what I'm talking about. Whenever that happens, I don't know when it's going to come.
What about Tom?
Given the annual turnover in coaches that's happened this week, do you count your blessings here?
Without doubt. I've been fired enough. I know what this is like, and we've been through it for years, and even on staffs where guys got fired, I've been through this, and we're very blessed to be in this with this opportunity again. And every year, I don't ever forget that. And sometimes for the coaches who have not had any other experiences and they don't know any better, they can't appreciate it like I do, and like guys that have been through it. This is a very difficult business, and it's tough, and it changes quickly, and sometimes it just feels like you just can't stop it from happening, and there you go, and you're out, and so to have this kind of situation here where we have great support in relationship with John and the people on throughout the building, and with the owner, with Paul Allen, who's extraordinary as an owner. We couldn't ask for a guy who's more supportive and more in tune, and he knows what's going on. He's not just aloof and out of there. He knows what's going on a regular basis with us. So when he speaks, it's meaningful. To have that asset as well, and to be coaching in this environment, with the 12s and the whole thing, it's awesome. I mean, it fires me up every day. I'm fired up every day I go to work, and I'm glad you brought that up.
Coach, speaking of the 12s, you guys, there's kind of a luster of playing at CenturyLink under the lights, where crazy things happen.
5:15 is going to get dark.
That's right. Put your thumb on anything that explains some of the funny things that happen?
I have not been able to really nail that, other than the extraordinary spirit of the people in this area. They love their teams and they support it, and they're still griping about basketball not being here. I mean, there's this fervor, this energy about it that shows up, and whether it's the Huskies or whether it's us or whether it's any of our teams here. It's amazing. Mariners get it too. So. It's just, I don't know why it is. It's just an extraordinary relationship that our fans have with their teams, and they support us in great fashion, and we couldn't be luckier to have them.
Who come up on this team have basically known nothing but success. Do you ever get a sense from whether it's a Cliff Averill when he got here or someone like Marcel Reese this year that those veterans almost appreciate it more when it's new to them, that they've had a long career without playoff success?
Yeah, no, that is the case, John. That it is how it goes, and it's just human nature. You get comfortable, you get used to it, and so our guys that come into us are really important as they see it for the first time and they go through it, that they share what they're feeling, and even then, it's still human nature. It makes you sit back and you kind of get comfortable with it, but to see, Rue to enjoy it like he does, and Marcel Reese to feel it, and Cliff too. He's been part of it. He was on one side of it. Now he's in where he's winning and having playoffs and stuff like that. Those guys really understand it. I don't know that Cam and Sherman, those guys can sense it the same way. We try to overwhelm them with the understanding so that they never lose touch with it, and it's something we have. It's just an ongoing process because it is so unique and special, and we're so fortunate to have it. But the messaging is strongest when it comes from the guys who have not had it before, and now they feel it, and they can tell you what it's like. And I want them to tell the young guys, because the young guys don't know. Second, third year guys, they don't understand sometimes, and which is okay. And part of this is feeling comfortable in this setting, comfortable winning, comfortable with expectations, comfortable with division championships, part of the mentality, and playoff time, and the way you perform at playoff time and the expectations of that. it needs to be normal if you're going to do it consistently. You got to be comfortable with it. You got to understand it. So it's this balancing act that we do, and it's the part I love about the job is trying to help everybody understand how they can max their opportunities out, and this is part of it. But those guys are the best messengers for us.
About that consistency, 5 straight seasons with 10 or more wins in this league, what does that say about your approach, your philosophy?
I don't know. We're doing it. I don't know. We'll look back someday and see what happens. But we're doing it. We're in the middle of doing well, and we'll see. I can't tell you right now.
Back on the coaching topic, just Tom Cable and Darrell Bevel,
Yeah.
what makes them qualified candidates?
They're terrific coaches. They've shown that over the years. They've got great numbers. They've got great history. They're winners. They've been at the edge of what this job is all about because they've had the responsibility in the way we do it. They're out there and they're exposed and they're held accountable. Also, I think what really helps is we do have a very solid philosophy here, and they know what it is, and they've been brought up in it so that they can put their own spin on it, their own twist on it, so it becomes their philosophy. But I think more than anything, they see the value of having beliefs and know what's important to you, because it is the number one thing that gets challenged when you get one of these jobs. You get challenged every way. What do you really feel is right, and what are you going to do with it? How are you going to handle the situations? And a really firm, solid foundation of approach really gives you a chance to weather the issues as you go through them and as you grow.
How's Tom Cable, having been a head coach, benefited him in his position?
Tremendously. He's a tremendous asset to me. We everything that happens here, I work with the guys. I'm not sitting up there making choices on my own. I work with our guys to draw everything I can out of their experiences as well. Tom's he's a brilliant statistician in terms of being on top of this stuff. He gets it. He knows how the numbers work. He knows how the players work. He knows how personnel works. So he's such an asset to me because we go through stuff all the time. Sitting up in front and talking and coming up with the decisions that you have to go figure out as you go along. Tom's been through that stuff. So he's an experienced, he's a head coach. He's just waiting for an opportunity to do it again.
Pete, I think Steven missed 10 kicks this year. 6 of them were blocked. Was there anything in particular? Are those kicks coming out low most of the time?
Yeah.
What do you see?
Yeah, basically it has been just the ball's been low at times, and they've been very fortunate to get him. He's a great kicker, but he's just had some kicks that got away from him. He's a great kicker, and he can kick in clutch situations. He can do it. He's been through it. We're counting on him to do it again. He hit 4 great field goals last week. We needed all of them, and so. It's mostly been extra point situations for whatever reason.
Have there been any issues with the line on those, or just the?
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes there's been a bit, but basically he just got to keep banging away just like he knows how to do it.
Anything else? Thank you.
Thanks, Pete.